Right, this is the this is the Gestapo at work in England, UK. So let's play the footage. She's been led out of a park, exercising her dog, whilst there's a Muslim here. Tell me what's going on. Why is this woman, a non-Muslim, being led out of a park and arrested? Why is it that the officer is not protecting himself? Huh? Why the discrimination and why the breaking of the rules by the officer? Apparently this woman here shouldn't have been exercising, according to the police, that it's against the law, of which it isn't. Another pegging officer, there's no masks on them. You can tell that by the bands that are not around their heads. They're just dragging her. There you go, there's no masks on them. Look at them. Are they keeping their distance? Again, no masks on them. They missed the Muslim woman, why haven't they grabbed her? There's enough of these pigging bully boys. Oh no, let's get hold of the British. Those that are clearly British. So the best way to protect yourself from these bully boys, these SS, these folks, is to dress like a Muslim. No masks. Again, no masks. En masse. No masks. Look at them. Keep your social distancing. Huh? Territorial Support Group. What the hell is that? What does that remind you of? The army, territorial army. Territorial Support Group, in other words, the SS. The other side of the pigging police, like the Jesuits, or the thugs, etc., for the Roman Church, Papal Church.
Excuse me? I'm a journalist, I was going for a walk and I saw some police.
That's right, get in his face. What about social distancing? Where's your pigging mask, you thugs?
Yeah, and I am exercising. I'm a journalist and I saw someone getting...
Another one!
And I was exercising.
Another one!
I was, sorry, mate, I'm a journalist.
Another one! Where are they? They're not even following their own pigging rules.
I was walking past and saw an incident, so I stopped for a second. I appreciate that, and I was exercising.
Well, listen, can you leave?
And I don't need to be surrounded by...
You're either exercising or you go indoors. So
I was
video
exercising.
me, look, Sergeant Gary Brown,
Yeah,
305 Avenue, go home.
Can we just stay 2 meters?
Go home.
I'm trying...
Go home.
Go home or you get fined.
Go home now.
You're going to find me?
Yes.
I'm asking, I don't understand. I was walking past, I'm a journalist, I saw an incident,
I don't care
I
what
wanted to
you
make
are.
sure it was okay.
Go home.
I was. Hey, you're all very close
You're
to me.
killing people.
I'm not.
Go
I'm going for what?
home.
You're coming close.
You're killing people. I've had this from officers when I've been out. You're killing people. Excuse me? And you're not? You're not observing the guidelines, are you? Social distancing, which came from a film. He hasn't got his mask on. And he's the only one, huh? That's not killing people? Of course, it's all fake, mind you. This virus, even the government are making out it's a fake. The thing about it is that this arrogant brat here is telling a member of the public that they could be killing people and he can't. I've said this from the beginning and nobody picking believe me. Are you going to believe me now? That in this hoax the only persons that are not going to be infected and spreading it are the police. For one. The criminal courts for another. They're not going to shut down the criminal courts. They'll shut down the civil courts because the civil courts serve the public. Criminal courts serve the government. So what has happened? Civil courts are being shut down. And the criminal courts are being kept going. What is the difference between a civil court and a criminal court in regards to people associating together? Solicitors and their clients, barristers and solicitors and their clients. You tell me. What's the difference? Can somebody define the difference between a civil court and a criminal court? They're all associating. I'm not talking about civil as in civil actions and criminal action, talking about the setup. Oh no, you see, they're immune. Totally, absolutely immune. Just as Muslims are immune. You know, getting a Muslim arrested. You'll never get a Muslim going down with it. And the government have now begun to see that they've got to get something registered in order to make it clear to researchers that this is real. So what are they picking doing? They're asking for doctors to sign off on death warrants that the death was associated with the coronavirus. They're pigging, playing us left, right and sodding centre. And the police here, the SS, the Gestapo, are enjoying it, the bully boys. Dreadful, absolutely dreadful. I really hope that people will share this piece that is on police abusing powers. And equally send it. I'm going to send this to the Lord Chancellor's office. And every other pigging office. And to the MPs.
I'm trying to. I'm now surrounded by 5 people.
Off you go.
Right.
Goodbye. 3058 Gary Brown. Bye. Goodbye. Thank you. You saved your life.
You're in the booth. Go home. Go away. Go away now.
What about these passing?
Essential Johnny. Somebody filming is dropping Essential Johnny.
Look, they're coming again.
Mate, I'm going. I was just filming that. Mate, this is my job. I'm not having a go at you. I appreciate that. I'm not getting in your way, but you can't yell at journalists going about my responsibility.
You to leave.
And I was walking away from you.
Go, otherwise you'll be fine.
Mate, this is not going to look good for you guys. I'm really sorry.
They're getting in his face. They've got no masks on. I think this fella got one glove on.
My responsibility.
You to leave.
And I was walking away from you.
Go, otherwise you'll be fine.
What is this? Could some bugger tell me what this fashion is? Of one glove. I've seen it along the streets with people. One glove. What's all that about? course they can laugh and frigging joke. Look at their faces. And what is it? What's their problem with these bully boys? En masse? Can't they go after real criminals? What's the problem with these boys? People are passing them. People are on the other side of the street. What are they doing about them? What's they doing about that Muslim that was going into the park? I'll tell you what the problem is. This fella is reporting them. He's recording them. And they don't want that, because that's proof of their gross misconduct in public office. These are civil servants. 2 words: civil servant. They're supposed to be civil to those who pay their wages, whom they are supposed to serve. That's us, the general public. We in turn are supposed to be civil to them, not abuse them. And servants as in, as we say, serving the public. The problem is with these bully boys is they start it and then they don't like the reaction from us when we rebuke them. Oh, you can't rebuke me, I'm an officer. But officer, you're supposed to be a civil. You got to understand what civil is, to be civil to members of the public, not aggressive, not bad-mouthing it, not putting members of the public in fear, not intentionally intimidating members of the public as you do, showing at the same time immaturity. You're not supposed to be bully boys. Bullying in this country is outlawed. And you'd be the first to say you shouldn't bully, but you're doing it. You're the first to say you shouldn't put people into fear and trepidation. You're doing it. These boys are doing exactly the opposite to what they say. Exactly the opposite. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. They are inflicting the civil side of putting people into fear and distress. Common assault. And we could go on and on. These boys here are so unprofessional, it's a joke. They've thrown away the law that they're supposed to dispense. They have no consideration for the law. They're bully boys. They salivate on attacking members of the public. But I tell you what, if they're on their own, it's different. Oh, when they're in a gang are like this, gang of criminals. Criminals are those that live without the law. These are living without the law. The criminals. I've often said to these boys, whenever I've met them, and they've gone off on one, you're just a criminal. You've broken the law. Therefore you are without the law. You're a criminal. You're no different than any other that breaks the law. Your uniform in office doesn't shield you. Doesn't give you protection. You've broken the law. Well, they don't want to hear it, but all you have to do is continue to say, right, you've broken the law. And they'll go on and on and on. and then you just keep silent and say, right, you've broken the law. And you just keep repeating that. I'll tell you what, they pig off in the end. Go off on a rant and they bugger off. Because they can see that they're not getting to you, but you're getting to them. And that's all you're going to do. Just repeat the words. You're breaking the law. Don't go any further unless you have to. But basically, just say that. You're breaking the law. Officer, you've broken the law. You've broken the law. I really hope that this gets in. I'm going to send this to the press. Because this is wickedness. Utter wickedness. And you know, when you get these letter headings, serving the public, integrity, honesty, and then you see this. And this is not an isolated case. This is going on and on and on and on. They're power mad, these people. It's not every officer, thankfully, but it appears to be the vast majority. A power trip. A power trip. When I got attacked over the Manchester Arena one by an officer who said, oh, I can arrest you and take you to court. I said, right, you get me arrested and take me to court and we'll have this out. I stood my ground and he buggered off. He buggered off. Because I'd stood up. I'd stood up against the Manchester fake bombing. In the open air. I said, how can a man blow himself up 6 times? The eyewitnesses say he blew himself up 6 times. And I tell you something now, if you don't believe me, you go and Google on YouTube, Manchester eyewitnesses, and the 6 different accounts as where he blew himself up. One in the foyer, which they make a great big song and dance about. But why don't they make a big song and dance about him or her? Oh, in some circumstances, there was a woman sitting there. She said, I saw this woman here, and she got her handbag, and she was fiddling about, and she looked at me, and she seemed to be distressed, and she moved down the seating, and kept moving down the seating, until she went into the midst of the arena and blew herself up. Oh, you look it up if you dare. Then it returns back to a man who blew himself up in seat 89 to 90, second row down. Blew himself up in a fire exit. Blew himself up outside a box office up on the melamine floor. Then blew himself up in a meeting and greeting room. Look it up. Look it up for yourselves. Well, we'll leave it at that. We'll leave the SS to it. I'll tell you something, at the end of the day, if the authorities don't do something with these buggers, God will. You sow, or rather you reap what you sow. You sow wickedness, you'll reap it 1,000-fold. I can tell you now, they won't get away with it. These buggers won't get away with it. Oh, they laugh and joke. But we know there is a point in time on which judgment falls. We know, if we've lived long enough, we know. If we do wrong, we're punished. Eventually punished. And the more wickedness we do, the greater the punishment. These will be punished. Their lives won't be worth picking living when God has finished with them.